New York Giants fans, you know what week it is? It's Combine Week. Yeah. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is Combine Week, and I'm always excited, right? But I got to get some things straight. I got to kind of tell you how this thing's going to go if you don't really understand it or if you've just never heard it this way. It's a great week, it's a great enjoyment, but that doesn't mean that we don't have things to talk about. I'm Coach Gene Clemons, and I've got a giant issue. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of A Giant Issue. I am Coach Gene Clemons, New York Giants on SI. That's where you get all of your New York Giants news and information. Make sure you go and check that out over there. Also, while I've got you, make sure you hit that subscribe button over here at the New York Giants on SI. That way you get all of the new A Giant Issue. There's going to be a ton of them this week, obviously, because there's a lot going on. I will be in Indianapolis. I will be in Indianapolis on Thursday for the start of on-field workouts. If you have not already, make sure you go to the New York Giants on SI website to go and check out all of my previews. These are under the radar prospects that are probably not going to go in the first round, prospects that are going to go anywhere from day 2 to day 3, and maybe even undrafted free agents that are invited to the combine, people that you want to keep your eye on because you just never know. Those are usually the guys that end up populating the team, right? So there are more day 3 picks than day 1 picks. There are more day 2 picks than day 1 picks. And so it's good to know everything. But I also thought it was pertinent, right? Because my issue is that most people don't understand what the combine is. The combine itself is nothing more than a glorified physical that became a spectator event. The combine was just a way to get all of these players in one place so that the medical staffs can check everybody out in one place. We don't have to fly to 100 different places, to 200 different places in order to get medicals on everybody. We can go to one place, get everybody's medicals. It also then became a place where, hey, I can talk to a bunch of people in one place. So now instead of me having to send our brass, our upper level guys to all of these different places to talk to players, now we can just talk to them all in one place. And it also allowed us to not have to go to everybody's pro day or to even have opportunity for players to come in and work out for us individually. Now we have it all under one roof. But then something crazy happened. The interest in it went through the roof. And you know when it went through the roof? It went through the roof with Mel Kiper Jr., just a regular old dude who didn't play no football. And if you ask me, knows what he knows about football, decided that he was going to do a draft guide. And it allowed every person in the world to believe, oh, if Mel Kiper Jr. can do this, then I can do it. So what do we have to do? We got to start paying attention to the things that GMs and people pay attention to. And all of a sudden, the combine became a spectator sport. Why? Because of the 40-yard dash. And who doesn't love speed? Who doesn't love to see people running fast? Man, oh man, it became perfect for television. Why? It happens quick. You don't have to show everybody, so you can take commercial breaks. When you come back, you can quickly replay the people who ran. And then more importantly, you can start to stack up what one person looks like versus another. And so now what the combine has become is a competition. Because if we're being honest, people's draft stocks shouldn't rise or fall with what they do at the combine, not dramatically, right? But we've seen guys who were first round draft picks go to the combine, not run well, and end up as second round picks. We've seen guys who were supposed to be third round picks go to the combine, or undrafted free agents go to the combine, drop a ridiculous number, and vault all the way into the first round, or vault themselves into a draft that they probably would have gone undrafted in. So it's important in that sense. One of the things that we always forget is that the combine is not real football. And so what a lot of these players should have been doing is, if they were going to the combine, they should be preparing to compete at the combine. So I'm going to tell you something that I don't like, and something I would get rid of immediately. If you're not going to participate at the combine, then you should not be allowed to come to the combine. The problem there is, what did I say it was? It's a glorified physical. So if they come and they still do all of the medical stuff that they wanted, that these teams wanted them to do, that is a win for the teams. It's not a win for the production, right? It's not a win for the production, but it's a win for the teams. If I had it my way, if you're not coming and if you're going to come and you're not going to do anything, that to me tells me that you are a high enough prospect that you don't have to work out, right? You're a high enough prospect that we'll come and see you at your pro day. So as we're sitting here, it has already come out that Ashton Genty is not going to perform at the combine. He's only coming for interviews and for medicals. And you know, if I was the NFL, what I would tell Ashton Genty to do? Stay home. We'll send our people to get your medicals wherever you are. And I would then reach out to whomever that next person was on my board, and I would invite them. Because if I'm the NFL, I want the product, I want the show to be robust. And I don't need situations where people go to my app so that they can look at the results of the 40 and the broad jump and the vertical jump and the three cone drill and the pro agility, and all they see is a 40 time, because the person did the 40 time and then didn't do the broad jump, and didn't do but then they're working on the on-field workouts. It used to be you thought, oh, that person must have gotten injured, and that's why they didn't continue on. But no, they're just opting to only do the 40 now. See, you're messing up my telecast, right? You're messing up my broadcast. You're messing up my viewer experience on the app, because the amount of time I can get that viewer to spend on this app is money. You're costing me money. And you're costing me money before you've even had an opportunity to make me money. I would get him out of there. But Ashton Genty has decided not to participate in the combine. And that's his right. He'll have a pro day. It also came out that the top two quarterbacks in this draft, by the way, top two, and there's no other people close. I don't care what any of these other Giants people are trying to tell you. Tyler Show is not anywhere near Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. Neither is Jackson Dart. They're just not. I'm sorry. They're not on the same level as these guys. They have not had the same amount of consistency. They haven't had the same amount of success. They haven't even had the same amount of wow moments. Because we seem to like conveniently forget the Shedeur Sanders wow moments. And then when people post them on social media, the response is, oh, well, but what happened versus what? Imagine only being defined by the bad moments. No one ever even paying attention to all the good moments. That's what happens in relationships. Let's talk. That's what happens in relationships, right? Whenever there's a relationship and somebody is once out of the relationship or somebody doesn't think they're getting what they want of the relationship, what happens? The other person, all of the negative is spoken about that person. It makes you wonder, man, why were you ever with this person? Like, if nothing is good, then why were you ever with this person? I try to use that as an analogy because if Shedeur Sanders was this bad, if he was this awful, then why is it that people thought he was so good for so long? If he was this bad, why has he not been looked at as consistently this bad? I can't understand it. Again, I've told you in the past, at first blush, you would think it's race, but they're not doing the same thing to Cam Ward. They didn't do the same thing to those guys last year. This doesn't seem to be based on race, but you know what it does seem to be based on? When Shedeur Sanders first started college, most of the pundits, most of the people in, or many of the people, I won't even say most because that might be an exaggeration, but many of the people, the loud voices, when he went to Jackson State said, oh, Deion's playing daddy ball. The only reason that Shedeur Sanders is going to start as a true freshman is because Deion Sanders is his dad. And then Shedeur Sanders went out there and won the Walter Payton Award, or excuse me, the Jerry Rice Award for the best rookie, or excuse me, the best freshman season in all of the FCS. And he led the team to a SWAC title and to a Celebration Bowl berth where they lost. They got beat. The next year, everybody was like, oh, well, now they know him. He's not going to take anybody by surprise. And he went out there and had an even better season. It was because of him and what he was able to do and those other players that Coach Prime got the opportunity at Colorado. Coach Prime didn't just smile his way to the worst FBS job in the country, right? He only got the worst FBS job in the country because his son balled out and everybody around him was elevated. I think that's interesting. At every turn, they doubted him, though. They said when he went to Colorado, oh, he'll never be, this isn't FCS, and more importantly, this isn't even an HBCU. That's bottom barrel football. Now you're in the Pac-12. What's he going to be able to do? And although they didn't win many games that first year, Shedeur Sanders balled out. And you know what people said? Oh, but what about this game? And what about that game? They picked out a couple games here and there. But after the season, he was on many people's top 50 bit boards. He was ranked amongst the quarterbacks who were all ranked. There were plenty of people who had him ahead of Bo Nix. There were plenty of people who had him ahead of J.J. McCarthy. The consensus was that Shedeur Sanders was going to go back to college because he wanted to be the first quarterback taken. He didn't want to be the third or the fourth, not the eighth or the ninth, as people like to try to paint it now. And so now we're here when he goes out in his fourth season, his true fourth season, because he hasn't been in college for 5 and 6 years and 7 years in some cases. Tyler Show. He's been in college football for 4 years. He started all 4 years, and he got better every single year, right? Right? Every single year, he got better. And so, what are we doing? Right? That's the thing that we have to remember. That's the thing that we have to know, we have to recognize. So now we sit here, and all of the people who's been saying that he wasn't good and saying that he wasn't good and saying that he wasn't good, they have to eat crow. Except we know that in this media business, most people don't eat crow. Most people just double down on the opposite side of it. And if they ever have to admit to being wrong, they don't admit to being wrong. They just say that the player got better. That's what everybody does with Lamar Jackson. They just say, "Oh, Lamar Jackson just improved." No, he didn't. He's the same Lamar Jackson. You just can no longer deny his talent. That's the difference. That's the thing. So I look at these things and I go, okay, Shedeur Sanders not going to compete at the combine. That's come out. Cam Ward not going to compete at the combine. That's come out. Hey, you know what I think? I think it's a genius move. And I think it's leadership. It's the qualities that you guys don't talk about. It's leadership. What, coach, how is this leadership? Hey, if I don't compete at the draft, at the combine, then all of my brethren, all of my former players, all of the players who are trying to get into the draft, they will get a bigger platform when we have our pro day. If I, Shedeur Sanders, do not throw until I get to Colorado, where every single team will be there, and every media member that can make the trip will be there. Why? Because they want to see me throw live. Now that puts eyes on Will Shepherd. Now that puts eyes on his brother, Shiloh. That puts eyes on Cameron Silman Craig. That puts eyes on Chig. That puts eyes on offensive linemen. That puts eyes on everyone that did not get the invite to the combine. Same thing for Cam Ward. And the truth is, what should happen is those two spots that are no longer going to be on the field, they should plug another dude in. They should put another quarterback in that spot. Why? Because why not? Because why not? Right? When you look at this list of quarterbacks, they're the Taylor Elgersma from Canada, the quarterback, he didn't get a combine invite. So he should get a combine invite. He can throw in place of Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. That's what I think. These are the things that we have to remember when we're looking at the combine. This is a performance. It is not real football. If you want to see real football, turn the tape on. Another thing you should know is that nothing's going to change about the Giants as this week is over with. We won't learn anything more. The only thing we will know, right? The only thing we will know is we'll know a little bit more about the players that we hope the Giants draft. Hopefully that's what's going on. That's what we're doing. That's where we'll find the math. One thing we should definitely be hyped about, though, right, is just seeing how people compete. This is the one thing that I will tell you that I do look for in the combine, right? if you are going to the combine, you've known that you were going to the combine. Like, just because they only dropped the list a week or so ago, doesn't mean that those players didn't get invites long before then. We saw when LaJohntay Wester had his invite. That was a month and a half ago. Same thing with Jimmy Horn. You know that the combine is coming up. You know what's going to be at the combine. Did you just spend all of your time trying to run fast? Or did you say, I am going to put a show on at the combine? So when you get underneath the bench press and you've got to do 225 for reps, are you doing 225 for 5 reps if you're a wide receiver or DB? Or are you hitting double digits? Are you pushing? If you're a linebacker, tight end, are you up in the high teens, maybe even low 20s, running backs, right? If you're an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman, are you in the 30s, right? Are you in the 30s? How seriously did you take all of the situations? Because to me, it says a lot. If you're a defensive lineman and you come out and you run fast, and then we see the bench press and you bench press like 18 reps, I'm going to go, oh, they didn't take this part seriously. So then that's going to make me ask, what other corners are they cutting? What else did they decide wasn't important because it wasn't the glamour thing? Right? Is that how you treat your nutrition? Is that how you treat your lifestyle? Is that how you treat your study habits? Do you just only focus on these one little things and I'm not going to worry about those because those are not going to get me where I need to go? To me, it's the Bosa effect. Anybody ever realize that the Bosas don't really make any tackles? They only really like get sacks. The Bosas are like the opposites of the Watts. They're like the opposites of the Watts. The Bosas just are going for sacks. But because those are glamour things. But where are the tackles? They've got all of the talent, all the requisite talent of the Watts. But do they have the go get them? Right? That's the difference between the elite level pass rushers. The elite level pass rushers tend to also be elite level run stoppers. It's amazing how that happens. The glamour pass rushers, the situational pass rushers, the ones who seem to only get sacks, you run on them all day. Why? Because they're not running through linemen, they're running around them. They're bubbling around. They only care about the sack. So they're going for the sack even in obvious rundowns. I want to see all of that. I want to see who does the three cone drill? Who does the pro agility? Do you just do a 40 and then do on-field workouts? I want to see who puts together the complete package. When I do the review of like the winners and losers, unless you ran a number that puts you amongst like the very small number, if you didn't do the other drills, you won't be amongst those winners for me. Doesn't mean you're going to be a loser, right? But you won't be amongst the winners, because to me, the winners are the ones that just, I'm going to do everything. I'm here to put a show on. So I don't mind those guys not competing. I do wish that they would put other people in their place. I don't understand why they don't do that. I don't understand why they don't fill it out. I don't understand why they don't have more and why this isn't like a 2-week long event instead of a week. I digress. It's an interesting time though. Like it's a time where we get a chance to see people. You want to know what I'm really excited about? Because we're not going to get the festival of Ward and Sanders throwing. We will get to see the other quarterbacks perform, and more eyeballs be on them. Not so that they can jump Ward and Sanders. That's ridiculous. None of these dudes in them in this draft. But so that we can actually get an opportunity. Remember last year, right? When Bazooka Joe Milton went out there and lit it up. He went out there and absolutely lit up the combine. And this year, everybody's like, oh, the combine is going to be able to up their stock. It didn't up Bazooka Joe's stock. He still went as a day 3 pick. Tyler Show is supposed to jump into the first round or the second round based off of how he throws at the combine, because it can't be based off of film. I know y'all keep saying it. And as much as I respect like some of these guys in the game, right? I respect Louis Riddick to no end. I think Louis Riddick should be a GM. But Louis Riddick telling me that Tyler Show is the real deal, I go, well, why didn't he show that consistently on film? And nobody can answer it. The man played at 3 different universities, maybe 4. He played in 7 years. You can put together clips from this game and this game in this season. What about all the others? I don't understand it. I don't get it. It's going to be great. So before I get out of here, I want to tell you some positions that you should be looking at as Giants fans. Number 1, got to look at the running back position. Yeah, I know y'all love Tyrone Tracy Jr., but there are guys in this draft class that are head and shoulders better running backs than Tyrone Tracy Jr. It doesn't mean I'm saying get rid of Tyrone Tracy. I'm saying that when you see the amount of talent in this draft, when these running backs start dropping, because they will, because the NFL is stupid, right? When you start seeing these guys drop, and then you see the guy who you just saw do all that good stuff at the combine, and then you go and look up the film and see his production on the other end of it. Hey, it's a 4th round pick. Best player available might be this running back right here. Let's go ahead and get it. Let's go ahead and get him. Pay attention to those running backs. There's a ton of them. What do you like? Big, small, fast, agile, with hands, good blockers. You got it all. I want you guys to watch the defensive line, because there's all types of flavors of defensive linemen here. I know some of y'all want edge rusher, right? I know some of y'all want interior D linemen. They got all of them. They got the edge rushers. They got the interior D linemen. They got the tweeners, the guys who can play anywhere from a true 4-3 defensive end to a 3-4-3 technique. They got it all. Check them out. They're big. They're fast. They're explosive. They're athletic. Got to check out the D linemen. And then obviously, you're going to look at the receivers and DBs. Why? Because that's what we came for. That's where we're getting the speed, the agility, the explosiveness. It's just a pleasure to watch them be athletes. Like, that's how phenomenal they are. So all these things are great. You're going to want to make sure that you're locked in here at the New York Giants on SI YouTube page. You're going to make sure that you're going over to New York Giants on SI to check out what's going on over there. It's going to be a great thing. Make sure that you're locking in. Until next time, I'm Coach Gene Clemons, and I've got a Giant issue.